Yes, welcome. I think did you won a session, but you also had one with me like a long time ago, right?
Yeah, that was like 2021.
That's a bit ago. So how have things been? You know, despite the insanely insightful, amazing advice you got back then. How's how's life in Maple
Um,
been?
Honestly, I don't remember how much I've done in the past few years on the game, but I think I've definitely been playing it on and off a
Hmm?
lot. But as of recently, I
You've been
have,
on.
yeah, I've prioritized more just like not forcing myself to do things I don't want to do.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been like I think I don't know. The last event with the Maple Island, that was like the first event that I played through the whole time in a while, so
Okay, I gotcha.
yeah, and I'm still going now.
So life just being busy, like job and school, or
Um
as much as you want to share, I guess.
wait, what do you mean like
Well,
I'm
like a
playing more
regular.
now? Or I wasn't
Well,
playing as much before because I was busy?
yeah, exactly.
No, it was just I don't know, just burnout, I guess. Didn't feel like playing the game.
Okay.
I mean, I think I have less time now, but I'm playing more.
I
Or I'm
guess
more
so.
useful with my time at least on the game.
Okay. So more efficiency, even though you're not playing as much, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. You do anything else? You like play any other games or?
Um, Not that much. It's just all Maple right now, I guess.
Okay. Gotcha. That's how it should be, right? Maple only for life, above everything. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. So I see pictures here of the Evan. Is this your? This is your dude. This is your character.
Currently my strongest, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like maybe it won't be forever.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw. I think I put Legion main at the top of the thing or something on the post or
Gotcha.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have this problem of wanting to play too many characters, so.
Yeah.
uh,
I think that's normal if you play more on and off, that every time you come back, you're just looking for something new, see if you can find something that you can stick with this time, and then you don't, and you're like, well, then I guess I should play something else next time, because clearly what you did before didn't work, right?
yeah.
So you are really trying to find a main, though. It's not like you enjoy playing a lot of different characters. You want to...
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I think I would prefer playing multiple characters
Mm-hmm.
over just like going deep on one main.
Yeah, vertical versus horizontal. Is there certain content, though, that you haven't gotten to yet that you would like to really get to?
Um,
Or does it not matter as much?
yeah,
Or...
I think the ultimate goal is to do Black Mage and get a liberated weapon.
Okay.
I think that's like a long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
But short-term, I'm just trying to get arcane pieces, like the 5 set,
Gotcha.
and replace
On the
Abso,
Evan. So you do want to keep moving the Evan up.
on multiple
On
characters.
multiple. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because you have another Hyperburn that you're working on now?
Um, yeah, so on the last Hyperburn in the winter, I did a
Mm-hmm.
Blaze Wizard. It's sitting at like 261 right now. It's pretty similarly geared to the Evan, but
That's not bad.
I think
And the
Evan's
Lin
just
as well.
stronger class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then right now,
I don't know why Blaze Wizard
uh,
gets ignored a bit, sadly.
right now my Hyperburn is a Lumi,
Okay.
and I plan to get it geared up to those two as well. And then I have
Alright.
a bunch of bossing mules.
So have you, even though it's like on and off, still like mainly in the summer and winter event, like did most of the Hyperburns?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think there was ever a burn where I didn't like use all the levels, you know, like get all the
Gotcha.
levels out of it.
Okay. So it's not like you just played whenever you felt like it. You still kind of like kept your ear to the ground to kind of see like, are there big buffs, or did your playtime, your availability, just kind of synchronize with these events?
I think I just wanted to play during the new event, I guess. Like that was motivation to play because there's all these, because the events are so valuable with all the stuff that they give out.
Yeah. Again, of the efficiency that we talked about, right? Yeah, you get so much more value for your time if you play during the events. All of the daily login stuff, weekly login stuff, burn events, yeah. The 1 to 100. I mean, some of the stuff is even no longer as valuable for you anymore because you have your Legion already built out as far.
Yeah, I think last time we had the progression session, I was 8K Legion.
Yeah, you have been working on that a little bit.
Yeah.
What was that, 9.4?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm hoping to hit 9.5. That would be a nice kind of short-term goal.
Okay. Well, I say short-term, but... I mean, there are a lot of free levels, but now all your levels are, like, on characters that are past, what, level 210? Probably at least, right?
I think there's a good amount that are still sitting at 200 I could push.
Okay. Within the first 42, though?
I think so. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I haven't really looked at it, but I'm guessing that yeah, there's a handful probably.
What am I at again? I don't even... Oh, I probably can check it. I'm at 9.7 or something, I think, yeah. I mean, the numbers can look really close at a certain point, but it's further away than you think, kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and Lumi, so mainly a mage player, I can say that.
Yeah, the teleport's definitely nice for bossing.
Mm-hmm. Lynn's
And I
flash
enjoyed
jumping,
bossing.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's flash jumps and it's got a nice dash though for quick movement.
Right, the bird, yeah. Mm-hmm. With the stacks and everything. Okay. And you've unlocked all the 6 jobs on the 260s?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your feeling on the 6 jobs that you have experienced so far? Or is it just like the origin, or did you also get like mastery core or?
Oh yeah, I definitely got mastery just to see how it is. I think they're all pretty good. But I know that the new mastery core for Blaze Wizard is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was hoping you were not gonna say. I heard it was pretty good because I was gonna have to disappoint you, but because I heard the same thing that it was.
It's just like the mobbing skill. I don't know how much it'll really help.
Yeah, I heard not that much. Yeah.
I don't know about Lynn though, but Evan's getting a good one.
Yeah, I guess we don't even know the Lin one. We'll have to see. Some people were like theorizing, didn't even know if Lin was going to immediately get one, but I think they will.
Yeah, they probably will, just to keep up with all the other classes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they could just throw a bad one in, like Blaze Wizard or I heard Kinesis was pretty bad.
Yeah, I heard that as well, that some of them definitely not hitting the mark in terms of helping them catch up or keep up with other characters, yeah. Lin Mastery 2 is for Wolf Toggle? Oh, did they have that one in Maple C already? No. Who's ahead of us? Is it Maple C? Already has a second core? Okay. Wolf Toggle. Alright. That's not too bad. It's like a little final attack thing, right?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
every 5 seconds or something.
Okay. Alright. Okay, so we got you situated on where you're at. So like long-term goal that you do have in mind is you do want a black mage. Do you have a character in mind that you would want to do that on? Or is that just something that you want to do that on all of your characters, or?
I guess now I would consider my Luminous to be the main, or the one I'd want to push first.
Okay. The playstyle is more what you were looking for, or?
Yeah, I like the bossing, even though it's not bursty and is kind of like out of meta. But the big thing is the mobbing for me, because I hate farming in this game. Like, it's so bad.
You want something more simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lumi can do that for sure. Even in the later maps, there's a lot of You have maps with teleporters around that you just like press up, and then you just zap everything, and then you do that over and over. And there is of course the big heavens door with enough buff duration and everything, then you can get enough uptime on all your stuff. And what I saw the second mastery will help a lot with mobbing as well, make dark mode very strong when mobbing.
Okay, that's good. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I don't know if you have that GIF still, but yeah, there's basically some weird particle effect that shows up with every single monster you hit, and it then just bounces through the map to other targets. And if you're strong enough, one skill can just clear the entire map, including monsters that are off your screen.
Oh, nice. That's crazy. So
yeah.
light and dark mode is bounces.
Yeah, it's almost to the sense where, because the new mastery, I believe it also increases the damage on your reflection, right? But that it's almost unnecessary because reflection is not really being used anymore, because the extra bouncing effect of the dark mode is so much stronger that people just use that instead, and reflection kind of doesn't get used.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I like reflection.
Mm-hmm. And there's probably some scenarios where it's still better because of the range, right? Or to pick up some straggler monsters to make sure that it like bounces around. Oh, Miriam has it. Yeah, this thing. Right, we can... So you can see him just fire the morning star thing, and then you can see all the particles like fly around. Bam, 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 bam. We can see it even here off screen. It just like cuts through everything.
Wait, yeah, that's crazy.
And it even just cuts the thing. It's like that effect where you see like the half, yeah, like that. It just cuts through everything. Just one button and map cleared, yeah. So that, you know, if you're looking for something that is kind of brain dead on the mobbing, so you don't have to worry about that too much because you don't like that part of the game, then it seems like you're going to be set for quite a while.
I wonder what the cooldown on that is like.
I believe I missed Jade Booming. Mirio, I believe that's just an extra effect that just always happens when you use a dark skill, right? Maybe I can check the...
That would be really nice then, wow.
See if you can read the effect. Because that's the cool thing, it's kind of similar to what Ark had on the first one, where you get the extra... you just get the empowerments on the Mastery Core, but you also get like this whole extra new effect on top of it. Morningstar itself has 5-second cooldown. Luminous. Ooh, that's spooky. Light reflection 6. Yeah, and then this endless darkness. Waking in endless darkness, sleeping within. Oh, cooldown reactivation cooldown 2 seconds. So that's pretty short.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it clears the map, there's plenty of time for the mobs to respawn.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and the passive effect is ender damage also increased, so that's pretty nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's really good then. For bossing.
That looks solid, yeah. Yeah, they need a little bit more juice when bossing. I know, we talked to all the Luminous, they just feel pretty about the bossing. Like, it's not bad, but it's nothing to write home about. It's nothing crazy no killer BAs you can show everyone or anything like that, so it'd be cool to give them a little bit more juice. Okay. Okie dokie. So do you feel good about the Lumi being the choice from here on to push it like to where the other guys are and beyond?
Yeah, because at some point, well, I'm not farming right now, but when Cernium gets familiars, I'll probably start farming then, because I don't do familiars right now. Like,
Gotcha.
It's just too much. And I think it's fine because from what I've seen on my Evan at least, is like I don't really need any more damage to clear the hard bosses. Oh, and then that's also something I wanted to ask you about. Like, because I haven't learned the C10A bosses yet, but I think it's doable because like the HP is similar to Lucid and Will, and I can do Lucid and Will now, like without any problem. I actually did it on my Lumi yesterday, too.
When you're
So
saying you're
it's,
doing the boss, is it like hard, soloing, small party?
yeah, I
What
just
are we
do
talking?
party finder. I'm not really active in
Mm-hmm.
my guilds or anything, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a party finder party and just get 6 and just go, or it's
Okay.
usually 6.
Yeah, that's something I was wondering about because if you're trying to, if you already have some characters that you can use to, you can kind of sometimes leverage higher level characters, right, to speed up your progression or get access to more stuff, open up more possible paths on another character, right? Like let's say you're in a guild, you're already doing certain bosses together, and your party's actually kind of strong, and you can just, switch them out for your Lumi, still get blue dot, and then start working on your gear earlier. That's something that you can do to, like I said, basically leverage the value of your other characters. Have you given that any thought, or is that something you actively don't want to do?
I'm not against it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really thought about it though, because the party finder's been working out for me
Okay.
pretty consistently.
Yeah, I guess the possible downside is you can have like drop yoinkers, right? That's or if you have
Yeah,
people who
well,
die
if
out or people don't wait, that kind of stuff.
oh yeah, that's a problem actually. People just hitting the box.
Yeah, people hitting the box, not waiting for who has the most drop, that kind of stuff. That in pre-made
Yeah,
parties, that seems to happen a lot less because everyone's, got a common goal. And for these parties are even, it's kind of like every man for themselves, even though you're in a party kind of thing. That vibe is what I hear that happens a bit more
yeah,
than it should.
yeah. That's why I try to be the one to make the party, so
Yeah.
I can control the drop settings. And like, I don't care too much about the pitch drops right now. I'm just focused on getting
Mm-hmm.
arcane first.
Yeah, gotcha.
So um,
Well, the thing
yeah.
about pitch is that once you start caring about it, you want to already have it, right? So like the
Yeah, that
sooner
is true. I mean, yeah, I'm not complaining if I get
yeah.
one, but
No, no,
I'll
exactly.
do
Well,
the
the sooner,
blinks.
the sooner you start setting yourself up to getting as many as possible, the sooner you can actually start considering maybe moving into it and maybe having a chance of upgrading it, right?
Yeah,
Just,
I have drop gear on
Mhm.
my Blaze Wizard and Evan. I'm waiting for MMT for the Lumi, but yeah, I'm definitely
Yep.
gonna get the drop.
Yeah, there's so much time in between the MMTs, but it probably does just make sense because of how much money you can save tiering a whole bunch of items up at the same time. And then with that money saved, you could basically roll all the potentials for free, so that is
Yep.
probably worth it. Where's the Luminous at? Is it just like into 200 somewhere?
I think right now it's like 253.
Oh, already, okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost done. You're 253, so do you have to do the last level like full? 259 to 260?
Probably. Unless they let me use a potion, but I don't think so.
I don't think so. Or if you wait
But
until like after the event is over and then slam it.
I'm definitely not gonna wait that long. I
But
think
that's
it's the end of
probably not
August,
worth it,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah, I don't mind. I can do my dailies in Monster Park and get it done pretty quick.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's all I do now, so
Yeah, nice.
it's not like I'm grinding on that character.
And the Lumi is already doing like Hard Lucid Hard Will as well, or is it like way off there?
Yeah, no, I just tried it yesterday just because I wanted to, and Lucid was fine, but I struggled on Will because of the Arcane Force, but the party waited for me in P3 to make sure I got a blue
Okay.
dot.
Yeah, Arcane isn't exactly. That's a little tough early on.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you're going straight for Arcanes. You got like a temporary Absolab kind of thing?
I think it's permanent on the Lumi.
Oh, the Lumi. Okay. Like a real, so like a. Oh yeah, not
Yeah,
temporary. Sorry, but like a fake one. Sorry.
Yeah, for the burning box, I chose the Dominator pendant,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still waiting on a real Dominator drop, which is crazy because I
Yeah, that
can't
could
believe I
take a
haven't
while.
seen one yet. But
That's what
I found like 3 superior Golux drops already,
Wow.
but I
okay.
can't get a Dominator pendant.
I mean, honestly, I'd rather get early Golix drops. Make sure that you can switch it to Superior earlier than Dependent. That it's not that important early on.
Yeah, I just wish I had it for the Shining or like MMT. Or I guess I can still maybe find it for MMT, but Yeah, the Star Force would be nice.
Yeah, Star Force would be nice for sure. That past 15. Have you given it thought if you're gonna like maybe try to transpose to Sweetwater, or are you just gonna use it as Dominator?
Do you think it's worth it to go Sweetwater? I've never done that for any of my characters. It seemed pretty tedious, but I think it's easier now, right? Or
Well,
no?
the problem is, yeah, you might need backups, right, for the Dominator. If it booms, then you just need to wait another amount of time. If you have enough resources from other characters that you've played, you could maybe craft Dominators. That's something that you can start considering when you have an account with a bunch of characters already, but no one's really been pushed past the point probably when you need a whole lot of them. You might have enough resources to craft a bunch of them.
Okay. Yeah, I could look into that. I don't know what kind of stuff it needs.
I believe you need pieces of destruction. And let's see if I have a recipe on here right now. Oh, I'm in the wrong accessory crafting. How do I it? Oh, confusion fragments. You need 20 confusion fragments and 10 philosopher's stones, 5 primals, and 40 pieces of time. Don't get me wrong, it's like a lot of resources, but if you have been playing for a while, you might have enough to just make a few of them. Which could be a whole lot faster, especially if you don't have your, you're waiting on your drop rate gear to save money on the MMT.
Yeah. Do you think it's worth it to go Sweetwater? Because then it gets replaced by the pitch drop, right? Probably.
So the Sweetwater will probably get replaced by Pitch if you get it, or by Daybreak, making the set bonus with the either the Twilight or the Slime, or making the 3 set bonus and then breaking that again once you hit. Well, if you have like Superior and that, you need the Superior to keep on, and then if you hit Pitch, then it'll break by Pitched again, and then eventually once you break the entirety of Superior with Pitched, then you go Pitch and Daybreak again.
I mean, where does Daybreak come from?
Hard Vihila and from Saren.
Oh wow. Okay.
But it's also level 140, so it takes up the same spot in terms of potential fodder for Superior into Source. But it has different set bonus. It's slightly weaker base stats than Dominator, but because of the set bonus, that takes it over, because that's way better than the boss accessory set. At the most 3 set at that point of the game. So, well, the main thing to consider, just Sweetwater, just putting it out there as an option, is because then if you just have one Dominator, you get to 16, you transpose. Like, all the backups just come from getting more than arrows and just getting Sweetwater backups, and then you don't have to get a whole bunch of Dominators, which are very rare, to get, to give yourself a better chance of getting a high Star Force Dominator pendant, and then that allows you to hold on to the Dominators for either transfer hammering fodder into Superior, or first get the Daybreak and then hold them. It's just a guaranteed. It's like a slower process to get there, but then it's a guaranteed upgrade eventually, versus a pure RNG, like hope something drops kind of thing. Or what's a little bit more realistic these days is crafting it yourself. But I don't know if you have enough. Typically, you can get, if you have a few higher level characters, like the Primal Essence is decently easy to get. Once you start doing like Sea Slime and above, like they start dropping quite a bit. But the problem could be the Confusion Fragments, because I don't know, like I've been playing this game for way too long already, like over 8 years, and I've held on to all of my Confusion Fragments, and I have 747 of those. But like compared to that, like Primals have 600, so those numbers are pretty close, but you need 4 times the Confusion Fragments versus Primal, so that would definitely be the bottleneck for this crafting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think I have a lot of those Confusion Fragments.
No, that's perfectly natural, yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think personally, because the flip side is like you do go for Dominators, you go for High Star Force Dominator, and then when you hit a Daybreak, then you can use your Dominator to transfer into your Superior, get your Superior up in Star Force, right? So your Dominator will get a second life there anyway. But yeah, it depends a little bit on your final goal of your character. I think the transposing is something I usually advise if your character is going to like stay hovering around like the early 260s, and probably is not going to do the whole thing like towards maybe liberating and maybe even like duo C10 or something, but nothing past that. Like no Sarah, no Kalos Kaling, like no grandest bosses essentially. Then I think it's a good value, because then all you need is just hit one, and then basically in your hands you have a 21 or 22 Sweetwater transposed. All you have to do is do enough Commercy, but you're never at the mercy of the RNG gods of Arcarium anymore.
Yeah.
That's where I say it, yeah. It has value. That, and I like the Twilight. I like the Twilight mark, but I like the Sweetwater Tattoo, the guarantee there better. Again, if you're doing like 5 or 6 man, Hard Lucid, Hard Will, the chance that everyone gets like Twilight marks and you can Star Force that, versus getting a tattoo on the side and using that as a backup basically for your Twilight mark, so you can risk more, I think is a good progression tool for sure. And then yeah, of course at the end you always have like pitch stuff, but you know, the odds of getting that just so low, and it has to hit, there's so much conditionally that has to be met there first. So I think it's good to try to build up. I'm always thinking like, how can I get to like a set of 21 star stuff with the highest degree of likelihood, basically, in order to from then be able to like YOLO into 22 pitched and that kind of stuff. Kind of how I'm looking at it. Because with 21, you know, all of the base stuff, you can basically do all the content in again.
So that's what I should aim for.
Well,
like as I'm getting my Arcane, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Arcane is going to be more expensive.
Pitched. Well, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much everything is before pitch, right? Because it's just getting to the boss. Yeah, getting to the boss takes a long time. Being able to reliably kill it with a smaller party takes a long time, and then by that time, everything else has just dropped more, and you've already upgraded that just because of out of efficiency, right? Because you just have more backups and you have the money, so that makes more sense to go for that. But here and there, pieces will drop for pitch, and here and there something might hit. But the chance that all of them hit and all of them have dropped is just so low that, yeah, everything else, by the time you're considering switching into like full pitch stuff, you basically always have like 22 CRA, 21 at least, all of the Superior Galax, probably like 22 Kana Treasure, probably at least 19 or probably already 21 or even 22 Arcanes. Pretty much always before you get like past like 4 or 5 set pitched, and then switch once you have 6 or 7, switch out of Superior into pitched. And because of that, typically your Superior is already 21 or 22 at that point, so you have to push the pitched very hard for it to be good enough to replace your Superior accessories essentially. And
you would need multiple pitched, right, to start replacing Superior? Or you think just one is enough? Oh.
Yeah, you probably want like a total set bonus of like 6 or 7 of pitched before you can replace the entire Superior. There is a situation where, very specifically, where I think with 4 set you can do it if you get like 4 set Daybreak and 4 set pitched. So with like the Stella earrings, but then basically you'd have to hit the Lucid Belt, you would have to hit the Stella earrings, and you have to get like the Iron Face or the book or the emblem like all pitched, right? And then you have to hit all of the Daybreak, and then technically it'll be like a little bit better. Might be a little bit of a class difference there as well, because it's mainly the set bonus, right? It's a 30 boss and a 30 IED that you're losing from the set from Superior that you're trying to overcome with a lot more flat damage, a lot more flat stat and weapon attack from the Star Forcing on higher level pieces and the better potentials essentially is what's going on there. The reason that it's so difficult is because that the Superior set doesn't even exist in Korea, right? So for them, in Korea it's very straightforward. Like, you always move into it because it's just so much better than what they have, because they have like Dominator Pennant is their best pennant. They have like an Iron Face accessory that they craft and some shit. So for them, all of those pieces are just so much better that it's brain dead switch. But for us, because we have Superior stuff and we can use that as progression gear for so long, that makes it a really like a much harder switch into pitch. But also that's kind of a good thing, because it means that you don't need it, you know. And if you do get it, that means you can set a very high standard for it before committing into it. And by that I mean like rolling, you know, good potential and going for a good flame. Because if the Star Force doesn't go, if it ends up booming, then, you know, that's where it stops. But what you want to avoid is, you know, getting like a 17 star or pitch and then investing into the flame, investing into potential, and then it barely being an upgrade, and then like what do? Do you wait then for another one? Do you try to tap that one beyond? You know, so if you have better base gear, that's why I'm talking about, like, you know, the Sweetwater Tattoo, for example, for the Twilight. Talking about the pendants, if you get those base pieces stronger, then when you do get those rarer drops, you can take more risk and make sure that you are just absolutely sure that it's going to be an upgrade because of how far it goes Star Force wise, and then you can fully commit to beyond the Star Force, you can commit to the potential into the flame. Does that all make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Feel free to say no if it doesn't. So we kind of jumped around between a few topics. Did you have any stuff written down that you specifically wanted to get to? Because you did mention one thing where you're like, that you did want to ask that. Is there other stuff that you have written down in terms of the progression for the Lumi on where certain things fit, or how you would use certain systems on there?
I don't think so. It's just more like the late game stuff, because that's all new to me. I think I could pretty easily get my Lumi up to where my other characters are. Yeah, so I guess it's just about pushing past there.
Okay, so you're talking late game. You're just talking like C10A and then into Black Mage and then Saren and everything Grandis essentially.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that's like end game, right? I guess we don't have. That's probably gonna be a while. I don't think I need to know much about that.
Well, it depends on who you ask, right? There's if you were to really look at, like, let's say that the whole game is 100%, and you were to divide the game into like 4 stages, and you would want to do it like 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%, then the first 25% probably ends at like, I don't know, like level 280 or something, right? And then the second 25% ends at like maybe like 289 or something, and then the third at 294, and then the last one is at, you know, something like that, right? Because of how much time those levels take, the exponential growth on the levels. And if you look at the content, how much harder the content gets in game as well, the jumps between the last pieces of content, like the last bosses that exist, is astronomical compared to the jumps of the early bosses, right? Like the first 5 pages of bosses, you can basically all do within the first week or so, and then it starts to slow down, and then it starts taking days, weeks, months, sometimes even like half a year or more to go from one boss to the next one. So you would have to have yeah, depending on your outlook, right? Something would be early game, mid game. So I'm just trying to get a gauge for what you're saying when you say late game, what you mean specifically by that.
Yeah, I guess just up the Black Mage, right? Because even like normal Saren is after Black Mage, or no?
Yeah, so in difficulty, most people will agree that it's easier than Black Mage, but the problem is that your Sacred Power gated quite heavily from Saren. Even normal Saren and Hard Saren have the same requirement, but you need 150 for P1, which doesn't really matter, because for P2 you need 200, so that's really the number that you're looking at when you're doing the boss. So you're going to have 170 to 180 before you can really do like good damage to the boss. And that means you'll have to have, at the bare minimum, 2, but probably 3 symbols unlocked. So that means you'll probably be over level 270 before you're even considering running that boss. Otherwise, just too much damage reduction.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you would say what you're focused on now is everything up into including Black Mage, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a good... I mean, because my long-term goal right now is to just clear Black Mage and start liberating, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so most people probably, you know, if I want to do the confirm enough damage, and they're trying to do it more like their way, not getting hard carried and everything, are probably about 270 or a little bit above when they really start like clearing the boss. And then there's like BA requirements and stuff. You probably want to do like a full 6-minute BA and do anywhere starting around 75 bill per second, all the way up until, you know, for more comfortable clears, probably like closer to 100 or a little bit above 100 bill a second average damage over the entire battle analysis. That's going to be like your goal. the more levels you're below, the more you'll also take, level difference penalty. And if you don't have quite all the arcane power yet, you don't have the arcane power bonus, or you have arcane power penalty and not bonus, you can, for Black Mage and for your early clears, this is probably a good idea to look into. You can get one trench of bonus final damage from arcane power on Black Mage, but you will need to put arcane power into your hyperstats and get it from an event buff like the current one, and that'll allow you to get up until a total of 1,460, which will be enough to get plus 10% final damage on Black Mage. And since this is its own source of final damage, that'll of course be a huge buff if you can do that, but that basically means all the symbols maxed, right? The passive from your guild and event buff and arcane power from the hyperstats quite a bit. But it is worth it because it's just 10% FD across the board, which is huge. That's kind of like the final goal for you to start practicing, I guess. You could technically start practicing before that, but for you to start contributing to a run yourself as your Lumi. Have you done any of the regular Tenebris bosses, like the normal ones?
Yeah, I actually just did some normal runs yesterday for Gloom and Darknell.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't tried Vihilla yet, but I think she seems to be the hardest. I don't know.
She's got like the most specific requirements. The other ones are kind of easy to get into because what you see is what you get. You get an attack, you dodge it, you get balls falling, you dodge them. If you get hit, you die. But Vihilla is more specific where, if the threads hit you, then you get a red skull, and then if she does a full map attack, red skull turn into black skull. If you lose all your skulls at the same time, you just die out, even if you haven't actually died yet. So it's a bit more of a mechanical thing to get used to. However, Gloom is probably still, like, objectively just the easiest because they made him a lot easier. Darknell is getting another nerf later after the current update, where he will be made a lot easier because all of the falling balls will just be eliminated, which makes the boss fight considerably less complicated.
Wait, what? Like nothing falls at all?
Yeah, just all the falling stuff just completely removed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's crazy.
So for a lot of people who are like struggling now, that'll make it a lot easier for them.
Yeah,
but
I was struggling
Vihilla,
yesterday, like my first run.
No, I can imagine. Yeah, especially if it falls in like a cluster and there's just like a like 5 or so next to each other, all falling, and you just don't know where to go. All of that will be gone. The sideways, so not only the vertical falling ones, like the little orbs. The vertical ones, like Ginger said, they still drop. Yeah, I wasn't including those. But the thing with Vihilla is once you get healing familiars, she becomes a whole lot easier. Especially if like a few people in the party have healing familiars, because that it wasn't built against healing familiars in Korea. So since we have those, you basically don't have to constantly. In Korea, you constantly have to get hit actively. I don't know if have you seen the boss fight for Vihilla at all?
Yeah, but like I don't know any of the mechanics, so like not really.
Right. Yeah, basically you have, depending on the size of your party, you have an amount of candles that needs to be lit, and then when that number is hit, then an altar will show on a map, which you can activate, and then once it's activated, everyone can heal for a short amount of time, and then outside of that window, you can't heal. So if you're playing with a big party, and especially if you're playing in a server where there is no healing from familiars, you just have to constantly get hit, which means you get hit, you get stunned, you can't hit for a while, you can get hit by other things, you might die, so it's always kind of risky. And dying is losing a skull as well, and then if you die and you lose a skull, you get very low to, the amount of, you get close to getting 0, and if you get 0, you can just die out completely, right? So it's always a little bit risky, but you need to do it in order to be able to heal. But with healing familiars, because it just keeps your HP topped off, you technically have to never get hit. So if you get better at dodging the threads, so you don't take any of the red skulls, you can just keep on fighting the whole time. You're never stunned, you're never locked out of your damage, you're just constantly in the zone, constantly focused in, and getting that damage committed. So as you get better at that boss fight, and as the whole party gets better at fighting the boss, it starts going a lot better and better, especially if you have more healing fams, then it just becomes much simpler. But like you said, like from the onset, the amount of mechanics required, it's definitely way different than Gloom and even Darknell. Yeah. She also has the biggest jump from like in difficulty, like the HP in difficulty.
Oh, it has more health than the other bosses?
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers. Let me check, but Darknell.
You have like a rough estimate?
Yeah, I've got like the 5% HP required here, so you can kind of compare them by that. Wow. It's a little different though, right? Because they also have different requirements for arcane power, and Vihela needs quite a bit more arcane power, so it's also harder to reach the bonus damage on her. But you can see here, like Gloom and Darknell have the same HP, and then is it normal Vihela has about a little bit more than 3 times the HP of the other two each. But yeah, Gloom is closed, Darknell is dashing around a lot. Vihela teleports, but if everyone's close together, she's not like unhittable for a lot, so it's better for like a DPM character. So like a Lumi would actually do quite well on Vihela comparatively. And then a little bit better on Darknell, but then the worst, quote unquote, on Gloom, right? Gloom is very burst heavy oriented.
Yeah.
He's close most of the time, you can't do any damage, and then when he opens, then you want to nuke him. Now once you get really, really strong as a DPM, and you can do enough damage to chip him down to the percentages, then he can back-to-back open, and then a DPM becomes really good. And then a burst character, well, they just used all their burst, and if it opens up again and you can deal damage, but you lost all your burst, then you just kind of there hitting with a wet noodle, whereas a DPM can then keep going. So it also depends on the stage of the game whether a character has a benefit or not. But you need a lot of damage before you get to that point.
Yeah,
so that's not anytime soon.
What
Especially
are the
for
thresholds
soloing.
where it opens again?
Yeah, so it has its own opens every 5 or 6 legs, but then it also opens up extra on I'm going to say this wrong, but I think 70% and on 40, on just 70% and on 40% or 45%, and then on Chaos Gloom it opens up again at 15% as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 70 and 40. Yeah, 70 and 40. And then 15 as well on Sea Gloom. On normal Gloom, it doesn't have that extra open there. So if you can get it, if you can look at the HP bar, and you see that it's close to that threshold, you might do a little bit of extra damage if you want it to open again. Or if you don't want it to open again because all your burst is gone, for example, you want to wait. Maybe you stop dealing damage, and then you can recuperate your cooldowns and then synchronize it, basically.
Oh, yep.
Or, if darkness is coming and you want to be bursting, maybe you get hit by something first, trigger the darkness, play out of the darkness mode first, so that as soon as you exit the darkness and it opens up again, now you can freely burst again, because it's much easier to burst when you're not in darkness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, all of that is... A lot of those runs can also... You can find a certain rhythm that works, and then you have a different team composition, or people get a lot stronger, and then maybe you need to switch it up, right? Because of those extra opens on those percentages for Gloom, it's very possible that the way that you play the boss just changes because of how much damage you do and how quickly you open and close. Maybe you hold the burst here, maybe you throw it in another time, especially if you're looking at, the binds coming off of your origins, wanting to maybe not overlap them. Maybe you want to stagger them as much as possible so you can chain them back to back with a regular bind, like on Darknell, for example, right? So you have optimal amount of time where he's just standing there doing nothing. Versus on Gloom, of course, like the only thing you can do in terms of binding is the origin. But with that origin bind, you can block out that big laser after the open. You've probably seen it.
Yep.
Yeah. If you origin then he basically gets bound out of that laser and he can't use that one. So.
Okay.
Lumi confirmed cheater class. Oh yeah, Lumi is immune to blindness, so your darkness mode, it probably isn't that bad, right?
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, Lumi is because you're like part of the Black Mage, you've got like the power that you're immune to darkness as the only class in the game. And darkness... You ever played like the Pokemon games where you're like in a cave?
Oh, yeah.
That's basically what the boss fights look like in darkness for everyone else. And also darkness in Black Mage, but for you just don't see that. So you get to still see...
darkness was the debuff where you miss.
Oh, yeah, that's... Yeah. I call that blindness because because
Yeah,
because
that's more
darkness is
accurate.
also used for the other one. Yeah. I think they call it darkness somewhere in the game. Yeah. No, but we call it the darkness stage. We call that whenever your vision is limited, essentially. Yeah. First example you can see is Von Bon's dimension. Oh yeah, Von Bon has it as well in the alternate dimension, right?
Oh, yeah,
Go into
that's
the
true.
portal. Yeah. And Sea Queen. Oh yeah, Sea Queen when she slashes you in the breath phase. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I don't know where you are with like Lumen Darkline Vihilla, if you want a little bit more breakdown or if you just want to kind of like experience that for yourself, or you want some tips and tricks, or
maybe Vihilla, I guess, because I don't know anything about that, and the other two are pretty straightforward, especially after trying the boss yesterday. And also,
Yep.
all of these bosses drop arcane, right? Or are they just the pitch?
So the normal versions, none of them do. The only normal one that can is Hilla, and for all the other ones, you have to do the hard versions to get the pitched.
Oh, wait,
So if
that's nice. I get. Yeah, I was expecting hard, but I guess should I just run normal Vihilla then?
Yeah, normal VL is a pretty good boss to get towards, because you can see here, right? You can see that she also has the red jade box, and she has a chance of the daybreak pendant and the armor boxes.
Oh, nice.
she's, like,
I
in the
do not
bench.
look in that window.
This one is pretty useful for that, to kind of like figure out who drops what. Because you can
Yeah.
see here like glue and dark, and to get a general gist, an idea as well of like where they rank in terms of difficulty. Like I said, Vihella is a little bit outranked in where she's, but that's because healing fams can make her a lot easier. So that's probably one of the only bosses where it's a little bit off. That and Gollux, because Gollux is here as just one difficulty, but Gollux we know is actually 4 difficulties and 4 bosses, right? So he should basically be in there 4 times in different ranks. Even though the ranking system is a little bit arbitrary, but yeah, so you can see like the type of boxes and everything. And you can generally see what the next bosses is to do. So you got like Sea Slime and Sea Gloom, and then you got probably Vihella is probably going to be more like here, like even normal Vihella and hard Vihella are pretty close. Hard Vihella is essentially just like normal Vihella with an extra HP bar attached to it, kind of. She's got like double the HP. So it's almost like the difference between easy lucid and normal lucid.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Or one is definitely harder than the other one, but it's not insanely harder. And yeah, and you can see the drops there, so you can see the pitches that can drop and the other items that can drop. There's the Stella earrings that we mentioned earlier. And you can see here, you're also at the brink of jumping from the red boxes to the black ring boxes, so that's when you start getting a way better chance of hitting some really nice special rings. You can see those pendants as well, right? So you see the Daybreak pendant here from Harvihilla and then from Seren.
Yep.
See where those drops are coming from. And that's when you get into the white boxes. That's like when you go hard Seren and above. That's these are really nice ones. Only level 3 and level 4 rings in there. You know, you still have to hit the right type of ring, but at least you know the quality is going to be decent.
Yep.
So yeah, for Vihella, I mean, a lot of it is so healing fams are very, very useful. I would advise to practice to play the middle of the map, like with most bosses. A lot of people want to just go to the corner, especially if you're just trying to have like a pickup group that just wants to blow up the boss. You go into the corner because she can't reach you. She spawns in the middle, so she can't reach you, so she'll teleport right on top of you, and everyone could just prepare their buff, and then bind her and just nuke her, and then just try to blow her up, essentially. The problem, though, is once she gets past her first HP bar, she has a really big attack that attacks either a really big range in front of her or a really big range... well, basically in front and behind her it'll hit, but depending on the color of the attack, there'll be a safe spot right in front of her or right behind her. And if you fight her in the corner, only one of those two you'll be able to do, and the other one you won't. So if you get the bad pattern, you're just going to have to tank the attack, and very quickly you will be... forced. Well, there's also like poison clouds that show up, right? And there's the threads that you're dodging to try to not get stunned, that light the candles, and all of those things combined, there's like minions that if you kill them they fall on the floor, but they become a poison cloud themselves. And even with all the healing fans you have, it can become really difficult to kill her without, you know, everyone dying out. So it's a good idea to practice the boss in the middle of the fight and practice a lot on the colors of the attacks. So there's like a blue attack, which is a swipe in front of her. She'll like charge for a little bit and then she'll stun you in place if you get hit by it. And then she'll keep channeling the attack and then do a big swipe and it'll like knock you through the map. So the idea is either to go up, and then you can also blink, stay in the air above the second attack. So it's like the initial stun and then the swipe. It's a pretty long attack. Or if you play close to her, simply teleport behind her and just keep attacking her. So if you stay like in the pocket really close to her, you can dodge a lot of things. The only thing that'll be annoying is you have to dodge the strings and you have to dodge if there's poison on the ground. Sometimes if there's a big poison cloud, what you can do, you can teleport very far away just to create a lot of distance, but she will teleport to an aggro target. So again, if you're playing with a lot of people, she might teleport all over the place, but if you're in a smaller party or everyone knows what they're doing or you're solo, you'll always know where she's teleporting so she doesn't like get out of control, get out of range. Especially if you're more DPM heavy like the Lumi, you want to keep control over where the boss is because you need to keep contributing damage to it, right? If you're more of a burst character, you can just jump on her, nuke her, and then just jump away and just always jump away from her whenever she shows up because you're not losing that much damage that way. So you have to play, you know, you can play it a little bit differently depending on what the team composition looks like. But yeah, basically at set intervals, she will, there'll be a big map swipe that she does where she becomes immune and the whole map effect changes. And that's when all of the skulls that you have that are red will be cut away and they will turn into gray skulls, and gray skulls can never be recuperated. You start with 5 skulls. If they're all gray, you just die out. And the way you get, you know, you keep the skulls green, which is, you know, the way you keep them whenever the FMA happens, is that you cleanse them by using that cleanse that I said in the beginning. So you see in the background, you'll see that there is there's candles. Maybe I can show you here.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I looked at like a guide video for the boss, but I haven't gone in myself yet.
Maybe you've seen this one. I don't know. This one's pretty good. Oh no, this is well, this is wrong.
Yeah, that Korean channel. I look at all their videos.
Normal. Do I have the video here? Yeah, this one. Yeah, so that's these are the strings, right?
Yep.
So if you get hit by so you have to always look at like the total amount of candles. Once all the candles are lit, that's when the altar will spawn. And then the altar, you just like spam your NPC chat basically, and then it'll cleanse everyone's red skulls into green, and it'll allow people to heal for a short amount of time. So you see here, you're 2 out of 3. So if you get a hit again, boom, you get the 3. All of the candles are lit. And then you get the altar, you go on it, smash the spacebar, and then it should show, yeah, it like sinks into the ground, and then boom, all of them are cleansed. So the idea is
when does the altar spawn?
Whenever all of the candles in the background are lit.
Oh.
So if you're a small party, it'll be like, if you're alone, it'll be 3, basically. And then as the stages go on, it can also go down or up. And if you're multiple people, and if you're like a 6-man party, there could be like, you know, 18 or 20 candles here or something. Like the whole thing will be filled with candles.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
So then you basically be counting like, oh, we need 7 more, we need 8 more. And these big hourglasses on the side, these are timing down to when the big map attack, the big map swipe is happening.
Oh, right. Okay.
The candles are based on remaining lives, kind of. So the candles are set based on the remaining lives after like one of these big map swipes happen. So if this big map swipe happens and then you die, then basically the candles for the next cleanser set. But then if you die, the amount of candles that needs to be lit doesn't change, but the amount of candles that can be lit without people dying out does change. So dying will put a lot of extra pressure on everyone, because some people might have to go all the way down to just like 1 life left, which means if they just randomly get hit by a string, they immediately die out. So dying puts a lot of pressure on everyone else in terms of letting everyone survive. So sometimes it can be better if you just have 1 red string and no one else has one, to just say like, don't get hit, like I'll just take the L on this one, right, and just lose one. That can be better than trying to have everyone getting hit at the right time and then trying to survive and then hopefully cleansing before the clock, especially if this timer is about to run out. Right, like, let's say that you're this low and you get hit by one. It might be better to just not say anything or be like, it's fine, like don't cleanse. Because if everyone gets hit, you also get a lot of these things falling, right? These little, these things. These only deal like 10% damage, but that's every single time one person gets hit, so 3 or 4 of those fall. So if you have like 16 people, 16 strings trying to get taken, then 48 of those things are falling, and you try to live, it can actually become too much. So sometimes it's better to just like take one life, but focus in, rather than trying to cleanse every single one that you have.
But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then the time in between the cleanses, in the beginning it's about 2 minutes. So if you're a 2-minute burst, you could just like every single time just burst on the 2 minute. Every single time the big screen attack happens. But as you get to the higher HP bars, the time in between the map swipes also decreases. So there's like an increase in pressure as you're in the fight longer. Yeah, it'll never look like this, but basically the first HP bar is red, and then when it goes all the way down, then it becomes pink, and then it becomes yellow and becomes green. It's just a little bit different than, 25% HP being cut down, but they just want to have a different form. But basically the only difference is just the red bar in Hard V Hela, she will have like a regular swipe. It's a pretty annoying one actually. It's really fast, and it's got a pretty wide hitbox. If you up jump and blink up, it's pretty safe to dodge it. I don't know if it shows that attack. Oh, this attack. Yeah, this attack is super fake. This one? No, not that one. I have to show the green swipe. It does a lot of damage. It's really fast and it's hard to dodge, but it's only in that first part, and then it turns into that big attack that I talked about where you can dodge just before or just behind. So this is the blue attack that I was talking about that channels for a bit. So if you get hit by this initial stuff, you're stunned. And then whoop, and then you get swiped across the map. So to avoid that, you just need to block the stun from the first part. So basically, as soon as you see her do, like, stick out her hand, and the blue stuff happens, now and then you just want to teleport behind her, or you can up jump. And then, as soon as this is happening, you're safe. If you fall back down through this, you're okay. And then you just want to up jump again to dodge this part. It's really just the initial channel and the swipe that are dangerous. The other blue stuff is just all, just trying to visual clutter, essentially.
It doesn't do damage at all?
Doesn't do damage, doesn't stun you, no, nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then this attack will be pretty scary early on, the side swing. And if she goes lower in damage, it'll also shoot out 2 skulls with poison damage that will fly horizontally. You can duck underneath them, but the scythe in itself, the attack, will deal quite a lot of damage, this one, if you're just standing close. And there's actually a safe spot if you stand like right behind her right here. So you want to be still on her character model, but like just behind her, and then this whole attack will just deal no damage whatsoever. It's a pretty small spot, but once you get good at that, and again, it's all connected to just staying on top of her and not being... It seems like she's pretty scary. Oh, this attack. This is probably the most annoying attack. It seems like she's very scary, and she is, but in a lot of bosses, you feel like you're safer when you go away from the boss, but going away from her actually makes her a lot more dangerous. It's all about like practicing, just getting hit a bunch of times, and just getting a feel for the hitboxes and the timings. And if you can stay on top of her, the whole boss fight becomes a whole lot safer. Unless you're playing with a whole bunch of people who don't feel that way and they teleport around, then the boss fight becomes even harder for you. So it's good to have people that are on the same page. Yeah, basically this attack, this one is very annoying. It's 20% HP, and the hitbox is like this. It's like massive. You have to respond just very quickly to this, otherwise you're going to lose straight up damage to this every time. So yeah, if you can burst out of this first part of the HP bar quickly, then as weird as it is, this smaller version of the attack is actually scarier, so you can get rid of this one. And then it'll turn into the big attack. Oh, here you can see the attack, the swipe, but then with the poison. You can jump over it, you can duck underneath it. But again, the initial hit is kind of what the dangerous part is. So if you stay on her character model but just behind her, you can immune most of the damage there. So this is the empowered version of that big swipe. But even though this looks a lot scarier, and it kind of is, you can see like a very clear sweet spot in front of her that's safe. So green, as soon as you see the green sickle, you want to move in front of her, and then basically leave one character space in between her model and yourself. So you want to move to around here. And then you just don't get hit by anything. If you're a little too far there, a little too far there. Also, the hitbox for this stuff lingers quite a bit. So don't like dodge it and then teleport to the side, because then you'll still get hit. You really want her to finish the whole animation.
Yeah, that's like Damien. His stuff lingers. That's annoying.
Yeah. Well, if you think it lingers now, it used to linger forever. But yeah, no, it still lingers a little bit on some of the skills. Yeah, like the dive down and the side punch, right? And you see for purple, it's the opposite. And then the safe spot is behind. There is a fallback as well if you are far away and you can't get to that spot. As you will see, the green attack is low, close by. So if you up jump and blink, you can also dodge it. Right here is also safe. And for the purple one, it starts high and then goes low. So if you're far away and you up jump, you could also... like if you're close by, you're just gonna get hit, right? Like it hits almost at the top of the map. But if you're far away and you just up jump and blink, you can also be safe there. But again, the best is to stay close to the boss, try to stay in the pocket, try to teleport around her. That way you can control her movement and you can dodge the attacks better. The only thing that will be annoying is if her summons these guys. Well, perfect timing. If you kill these, they do a little bit of damage with their attack, but also if you kill them so they fall on the ground, they become a rotting corpse and they deal damage like that. And a lot of times they will be on top of where she is. They have a pretty small hitbox, so you can stand very close to them without actually getting hit. You just have to pay close attention to whether you see your HP going down or not.
Oh, that makes sense.
And she can summon up to 2 of them, and then they can die up to twice, becoming a puddle of stinking corpse, and then the 3rd time you kill them, they're actually gone. But then, you know, once you get further, she also starts summoning Lotus and Damien. Once you're pretty strong, and if you have a pretty big party, they die kind of instantly, but they still both have like a push attack, so they can push you into other things if you don't kill them quickly. So you do have to kind of respect them. Yeah, Lotus just does basic Lotus. It doesn't do like platforms and all of that crazy and purple balls, you know. It does like the regular ball and then just the push attack. That's all Lotus does. And it has very, very low HP. Damien kind of does the same thing. He does like the sideways swipe and he does the dive thing from the sky. Yeah, this one. Which, you know, you don't want to get hit by, but... And then if you fully kill her, then you get this animation, and then she's dead, and here are the drops, basically.
Aye.
Yeah, healing fountains make it so much easier, but yeah, stay in the middle, stay close, take control of the fight, look at the hitboxes, look at the timings, and with this, with all of C10A, general overarching advice is use your vertical mobility a lot. Like, don't be, like, up jump and blink, stay in the air. I often tell, you know, when people talk about 3D games, I usually just say, well, 3D games most of the time are just 2D games, right? Because there's not a whole lot of jumping that does a bunch of stuff, and you don't really crouch under things. You're just moving in a 2D plane, but it's just flat instead of upright. So you really have to see a 2D MMORPG as being kind of the same as a 3D MMORPG, where your way of extra dodging that you don't really use much early on is just going up verticality rather than just horizontally. And that's something,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So between your ethereal form, your teleports, your blink, and your the other thing you're going to start using more is your will skills. So like Urda's will and your regular, I don't know, hero's will or whatever it's called, right? The one that cleanses CC. Yeah. Because there is niche uses for those, but once you get to C10A, and especially once you get to Black Mage, those are going to be used way more. And for example, if you get hit by a red string, you also get stunned. But if you use the Hero's Will, you'll get the red skull, but you won't get stunned. So if you need to get hit multiple times really quickly to try to cleanse, for example, you can use that to make sure that you don't get stuck. And then you can just get hit, cleanse, boom, get done. Or if you do get hit by that initial blue channeling attack, right? If you're like, oh, I'm gonna get hit, you press will skill instead. You don't get stunned by it. Teleport behind her anyway, and then keep hitting her. So there are a lot of situations where it can be useful.
Wait. And do you think normal Vihilla is soloable for my Evan right now?
Probably not. It's a lot of HP. What's the hardest you've done on there?
With guild skills and like all the buffs, I cleared Hard Lotus last week for the first time. It was like a 15-minute run, but a lot of that was like dodging though. But I guess V-Hill would be dodging, but I feel like Lotus is probably more downtime to dodging.
Lotus has a bit more downtime. Yeah, a bit more downtime because, well, like the purple phase and the screen crack is probably like roughly the same, but like the laser phase would put you out of commission a bit more. So you're just like floating around a bit more on Lotus. If you get better at Hilla, you can definitely commit more damage. But like for comparison, like HP wise, Lotus and normal, normal Vihilla has like 3 times the HP.
Wait, like Lotus has more, or
no? Hilla. Hilla is normal. Hilla is like 3 times the HP almost. So
of the entire Lotus fight.
Yeah, the entire
Oh, okay, that's not happening then. That's crazy.
And then on top of that, you have like the arcane power requirements, right? So you need 900 for base damage. So if you want to do the full damage, you want to do bonus damage, then you need to go all the way up to 1350, which is maxed symbols plus 30 bonus from guild or equivalent.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to party up for that. I'm just worried because you said it might be harder with random people. I guess I should start being more active in a guild.
Well, it's kind of like Hard Lotus.
Parties.
In a way, if you have Hard Lotus, you have enough people, you have enough damage, you can just blow up Hard Lotus. But if the people don't have enough damage, more people in the boss fight can make Hard Lotus harder because they can break platforms, they can make Lotus teleport out of your damage, right? They can make certain aspects of the fight harder. But if everyone knows what they're doing and they're aware of that and they're moving in a way that they're aware of that, then it's like 1 + 1 = 3, right? But if they're not, then 1 + 1 can equal like 1.2. You know, it could be, the synergy can be off there.
Yeah.
But I'd say Hard Lotus is good practice because it's got a lot of stuff going on. So it's definitely good practice, and you did it in around 15 minutes. That's good. But if I were on a character where I was like, okay, I could do 15 minutes Hard Lotus, like mathematically, even if you're meeting the requirement for the arcane power, that's like a 45-minute, hard normal Vihilla. So you could definitely get started on that. But there's definitely like Gloom and Darknell. You want to start doing those and start speeding that up. And I'd probably be looking at normal Vihilla is probably like before that in a party. But if you're looking at solo, you're probably looking at like it's probably going to be normal Vihilla and then like Sea Gloom and then probably hard Vihilla and then hard Darknell is like the next ones in that order. But the ones we're kind of skipping there is like hard Lotus and hard hard Lucid and hard Will and hard Damien, right? Those are kind of more in between there, I would say. See, damage wise, they're more, and maybe even Slime, like they're more in that area. Normal Vihilla could be on there, but just because of the HP. But you see, the requirement for the arcane power is way lower. Slime is a bit harder because he heals and he doesn't have arcane power, quote unquote. That makes it easier to get to, but then you also don't get the bonus damage, so then that part becomes harder.
Yeah. Wait, is the healing? Does that subtract from the HP requirement?
So the HP requirement is the damage dealt by the party. So if a boss gets shields that you need to break through or heals, then the total party deals more damage, and you have to, as an equivalent of 5% of that as well, do bonus damage. So this is like the minimum amount of damage you have to do. The more shielding and the more healing a boss has, the higher that number will end up being.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, if you're wondering if you can do it, I would say give it a try. You know, maybe check the video again, familiarize yourself with the attacks, and just go in and give it a try. That's the best way. Hands-on experience is by far the best. Looking at a video is really good. Looking at someone in your class fighting fighting the boss, and maybe talking through, like what they're looking out for and the mechanics is really good. But hands-on experience can't really be beaten.
Yeah, and what you definitely think it's like reasonably clearable in a full party, right? As my Evan right now, because
if you can hard load a solo and you can get a party with people who can do that, then that boss is definitely clearable. Yeah, but again,
I'm
practice.
At a point.
Practice is important.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not really progressing my like top end characters right now because I just feel like I don't need the damage and I want to play other classes. So yeah, that's good to know, I guess. I just need to learn the bosses and find parties.
Yeah, being able to train the boss with multiple teleport classes, even though you have different characters, can still help you with experience for the boss in the beginning. And then once you feel like you've got it down, then you can always scale down in the amount of bosses that you're doing and only do the more functional ones, because if your current characters, let's say that they have the damage that you want them to do, they can do hard lotus, but maybe they don't have like a nice Oz ring yet, for example, then doing some more of those higher level bosses will actually be pretty useful just for more ring boxes. And then maybe once you hit a ring box, then you can decide to maybe not do the boss anymore, because then you have more damage to throw to the other bosses that you can then more reliably kill within less time, and then make money for your account as a boss meal, for example. And then that'll make sure that there's a whole bunch of money you don't have to spend on the character if you hit a good boss ring. That's a lot of funding saved, basically.
Alright, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the bosses and all that stuff. Is there anything, because I mean, you did include like a lot of screenshots of your Evan. Is there something specifically with the Evan that you either want to use as like a reference point, or that I can help you with specifically, just to see if there's anything that I think is off or anything like that?
Yeah, I just threw that in because I thought that you'd want to see something for the session, but like, I don't know, nothing in particular. But if you spot something off, I mean, the only thing that's really off is the familiars, but I'm not gonna do that till the Cernium familiars, so that I can farm. I can farm the 6th job at the same time as getting my familiars done. Yeah,
that's when you know that's coming, it makes a lot of sense that you just want to wait for that, for sure. Yeah, because as long as you're like familiar with and you feel like you have a grasp on like general progression for equips and everything like that. Of course, it's going to be different when it's your first character or your second character, or it's going to be your 5th character. You're going to know where you can possibly cut corners. You're going to know more clearly like what damage is really necessary and which damage is more kind of, wanting versus needing, right? But I don't see any like crazy stuff. What most likely happens in the transition of where you're at is that you start really, when you're talking about like the drop in the meso gear, that you really start prioritizing purely drop gear over meso gear. But that will have to do with what you have to look at for that is how much are you really going to be purely grinding on your character. If you're going to be grinding a lot, then meso gear is pretty much always going to be worth it, versus how much of your money is already being made by boss crystals and how much do you want to make on top of that with grinding. But
yeah,
if you don't have a character past 260, I probably would go for meso and drop rate gear on the Lumi, just because that's most likely your character that you're actually going to train on for a long period of time and all the way past 260, right?
Do you think it's still worth it if I could, or I guess ideally you would have both lines, but because I don't think I'd want to get like meso gear because I don't think it'll be used that much, but I would, if I had to choose, I would pick the 1-line drop over 1-line meso, but ideally it's both, right?
Yeah, ideally it's both. I think ideally you still go for the regular setup because you will get to the point quicker of where the upgrades start getting very expensive. And even though you have a very solid setup with the current characters here to start making, because these characters can probably very easily make about like 1.5 bill a week, right?
Well, it's more than that. I
Yeah, or
have
towards
one and a
2.
half pages of boss meals right now. I actually
Hmm.
started capping out my crystals for the first
Right,
time,
because if you're
like
so
last
you have
week.
like a bunch of like other 250s and 240s that are doing bosses.
More around like 225, but yeah, just a bunch
Okay.
of other characters. I mostly do. I feel like I have like maybe 6 or 8 characters that do Enlomi and below, and the
Hmm.
rest are like CPAP, Akechi and below.
Okay. Well, the question is going to be if you are going to, want to do what's required to get your character towards Black Mage and that stuff, there is going to have to be some time dedicated to just purely grinding and not just only dailies. And that time has to come from somewhere. So if that time does come from some bossing meals, then getting the Mesoptane on the Lumi, and you can get Mesoptane and drop rate there without it going at the expense of your kill speed, if you're funded enough on the character. And then that'll mean that you can still, even on the time lost, quote unquote, of the bossing mules, that you don't have to do and you can do or without losing a whole bunch of financial progress over time.
Could you explain that one more time? Sorry, I think I'm getting a little lost.
Yeah, so you're looking at like basically you have like a total weekly income, which right now is
Right.
pretty high, but that's because all of your time is going to basically dailies and weeklies, and that's it, right? There's not much grinding happening.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to go like 260, you want to go to 265, you want to go 270, maybe even 275, you have to do some grinding, or that path is just going to take multiple months and months and months and months, maybe even take like 6-8 months or something until you get there, and then you can start practicing Black Mage. Maybe that's another month. Then clearing Black Mage, that's another 8 months, and this is like a 16-17 month project. I don't know, there's no rush on it and there's nobody chasing you, but that could be sped up quite a bit by grinding, but that grinding time will probably just come from what is now bossing mule time, I'm guessing, right? Or unless you're going to just like do both and start playing a lot more. So if you want to like compensate that loss of the bossing mules, but not just the gains of level of EXP and more fragments, but also kind of maintain your meso income as best as possible, that meso gear there will be the thing that helps you. And already knowing that you have a good income, with all the bossing mules, that also means that you can probably pretty quickly work towards hybrid gear with drop and meso combined, and then have that basically supplement all of your income as you're progressing on your character.
Okay.
So I would look for combination set of both, yeah, with hybrid pieces. Now the possible downside is there that you're going to be using weaker pieces, quote unquote, for that, because you're going to bring them early and you're going to have access to really strong pieces. So that might mean that if you get to really high areas, but we're talking like 280 plus areas probably, that those pieces are not going to be sufficient to maintain your kill speed.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah, that's happening anytime soon. Plus, by the time you get there, probably all the other projects are kind of done as well. So then you're going into pitched. What happens when you get into pitched? All of the really strong attack pieces that you have before the pitched now become obsolete, right? They become unemployed, as I call them. And now they can become your new your drop gear, hybrid gear that replaces your old weaker pieces, hybrid gear, to if you want to keep pushing like past 280 and past, essentially. So there's always like a contingency there that you don't have to make 18 sets of gear, they kind of like flow from one function into the other one as other pieces come in and kind of like organically push them out, and yeah, they get pushed into other functions. That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay.
I do have a question about
Sure.
just leveling in general after like 260, because since I don't like farming, I'm just trying to gauge like how much do you think I would need to be farming, I guess, to like level at a decent speed, or do you think that dailies are still good enough past 260? Because definitely before 260, like no grinding is really needed, honestly, and like you're just trying to rush at that point. So I'm just wondering like how necessary is it to actually start farming for XP?
Yeah.
past 260 because it wasn't needed before 260.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. The main thing is, I don't know, maybe a visual. Nothing is like necessary, right? It all comes down to if you are content with the rate at which you're progressing, then you just do that. You know, like if I noticed that if I just do dailies and just nothing else, my character is never getting to 285. Like this is like a year of you know, it just takes too long. But there is very high value in the first like half hour, in the first 45 minutes, in the first hour that you train, and then as you go past that, it starts going down a lot, mainly because coupons are a finite resource. Event buffs are typically finite, right? Like the event explosions that give you extra map clear and extra EXP, those don't last forever. Those have a limited amount of triggers. So you can play around events in that way and be like, oh, this event gives triple EXP coupons, and it gives event explosions with more EXP. This is a good time to, like, you know, daily do like an extra 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever you have time for. And then maybe when you're off event, or maybe there's other stuff that comes up in your life or something, you're like, okay, now I don't have the time for that. Now I'm not going to do that. But it will be a good idea to look for those opportunities to speed up that process, just to have it, you know, consistently speed up. The main reason I'm saying this is because if you look at the total like EXP needed, the increase, where's the, is it wiki, MapleStory, EXP, the, oh yeah, here. You can see like how much the EXP per level goes up versus the previous level. And it's like a very small increase here at the lower levels. And really up until 260, it's not that spooky. You can see here it barely going up. So it's very straightforward. But then like the XP from 259 to 260 versus 260 to 261 is triple. And then it keeps going up, you know, like it keeps going up a little bit per level. And then every 5 levels it goes by 1.3. And then here it goes by 2.2, and it doubles again, and then it doubles again, and then it doubles again, every 5 levels. And then eventually, you know, the number becomes, like, you have to start counting, like, okay, that's million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, you know? It starts becoming orders of magnitude. So if your goal is, you know, to get to somewhere between 265 and to 270, and then start doing Black Mage, and as long as your equips and everything are following and your progression is good, like, you know, you keep doing your dailies and your weeklies so that you have access to all the bosses, you keep playing around events to spend your money, and you're like near maxing on crystals, so you have a lot of cash. Damage wise, you'll get there, but you know, if you want to get there earlier, you want to get, maybe if you train a lot, you get a lot of EXP, you get a lot of levels. You could offset some of the RNG of maybe not hitting drops by guaranteeing the damage from level benefit, for example. That's like one of the ways you can look at your time and look at the value of your time. But there's definitely, what you're talking about, like, there's definitely a lot of value in just, if you do your weeklies and like train 15 to half an hour a day, that value in that time is way higher than if you're like training 4 hours a day and like you take that last hour out of those 4, for example. Because now, you know, you need like familiar juice to keep your familiars up for your drop rate, right? Now you're running out of Legion coins, or Legion coupons, or even coins, right? And now you're running out of event opportunity. Now you're running maybe out of Monster Park coupons, right? So the further you keep pushing it, the more that efficiency starts getting strained. So yeah, do you need to train the whole time? No. Is not training at all going to be just as good as just doing daily? No. Probably want to train a little bit daily, I would say, but whatever you're comfortable with, you know, because if you're doing all of those bosses, like I said, it's got to become a lot. If you have, it's a good idea to just pick and choose. Maybe after a week, kind of look at, okay, how much did I play? Do you feel like you played a little bit too much? Do you feel like you could play a little bit more? Just, you know, reassess every now and then to see like where you're at. I do that regularly as well, you know, with my boss mules. Be like, okay, am I killing all the bosses I want to kill? Am I playing the right characters? Did I enjoy this week? Am I okay with doing a little bit more? Am I okay with doing a little bit less? And then just give it a try, you know?
Yeah. So, do you think that, like, just doing a little daily grind with the event, well, do you think that's good enough, like, progression level-wise to match the speed of my progression equips-wise if I'm doing the bosses every week. And I know it's kind of hard to tell with like, because it's RNG drops. So
yeah, there's some RNG. So for those things, I can't say at all. For me personally, yeah, like that's good enough. I noticed for myself, like not training at all in the beginning, probably like up to 270, it's probably good enough. But then you're always kind of like prepping for the next phase, but also for the one after that a little bit, right? So if you think the stuff after Black Mage is going to also become relevant, well then the longer you take to get to 260, the longer you take to get to 265, the longer you take to get to 270, the more you're also like slowing down your grandest symbols. And then the more you're slowing down how quickly you could get to Saren, and how quickly you could get your emblem, how quickly you can get to Kalos, how quickly you can get Eternals. I know you're not thinking about all that stuff yet, but if you want to keep those options open, level is a big gatekeeper in terms of just access to areas and access to, and as a result, access to symbols, and as a result, access to certain bosses. But I think it's enough. Yeah, I think an hour a day training is probably kind of like my max, because once you go past that, you start getting into trouble with coupons and stuff, and I think that's when you lose a lot of efficiency. So anything from like half an hour to like at least half an hour a day, I think is like minimum probably on a main for training. If it's like half an hour to an hour, I think that's a little extra, but it's probably still pretty standard. More than an hour, I think it starts becoming a decent amount. More than a WAP a day, I think is excessive, personally.
Yeah.
People who do like two WAPs a day or more, I think is just like this is like hardcore grinding. This is just not my scene, you know. Doing that and keeping up like boss crystals, and then also having some kind of a life out of there. I think that's I don't know how people do that.
Yeah. Oh, you think should I start doing the what is it? The Threads of Fate for the WAP potions?
Yeah, I would start doing
that for like box drops and the arcane bosses. Is that worth it, or like I don't know how many potions I'll get, because I've never done that before. I don't know how hard it is or how much I'll be getting.
Yeah, the build-up is a little bit slow, and then there's some RNG in getting the right ask of your friend. And then once you get the right ask, you can keep that with the strategy if you have two characters. Basically, every single time the day resets, the first person you ask will reset their ask. So you will lose the one that you have, and it's like a random list of like 15 or something, so it can take a while to get it. So basically, you just keep friendship up with two friends, and then every time after reset, you basically have one dummy roll, and then you just reset, you just relog the game, and then you ask the person with the right ask, and then they will just always keep the right one as long as there's a second person of the day that you asked. You can, once you build up the friendship, you can get like 20 bags per ask, and you can do it up to 5 times a day, so up to 100 bags. And the general rate of return is roughly half of an oil per bag that you open. So if you do 100 a day, you roughly will get around 50 oils. And I don't remember the exact resources you need, but we can check the resources. Oh, I don't have the thing learned. But if you keep regularly doing that, you can get an insane amount of oils, and as a result, an insane amount of potions very quickly. So much so that if you were more of like a daily grinder, you'll get to the point where you have way too many quite quickly. But the build-up is a little bit slow.
From one character?
Just from one character, yeah. Multi-charactering is pretty much never necessary.
Oh, nice. That's good to know.
I didn't do it forever. And then I started because of totems back in the day, I started kind of catching up with my resources that I had, and then I started unlocking it. It took me a long time to get it, and then I used it for a while, and now I have 1,300 small WAPs backlog. So that carries me over for quite a bit. I use them every single time on every single boss mule, every single week, and it's almost like impossible to get through them. So yeah,
that's good to know.
Yeah,
and you have to be logged in on that character to to get
so you have to stay.
Day?
Yeah, you have to stay logged in a half an hour, and you can't CC. So nothing that changes channel like cash up or CCing. If you CC somehow and then you ask again after half an hour, you just get 1 million meso, and you don't get the reward that you're supposed to get. So it's best to do it while training, or when you're like kind of AFK and doing something else, but you still have the computer on. is best ways to do it. But if you're like training on the same place, in the same map for like half an hour, it's good to just do one a day, for example, just during that half hour of training, and that'll already give you like a very solid return, right? Because like half an hour, 20 bags if you have max friendship, so that's on average around 10 oils, and then 10 oils is, I think, 1/5 is about 3 wops back on average. So but you're using one, so you're already getting like on average a 3-to-1 back. So there might be some sessions that are worse and some that are better, but as it starts rolling, you'll just start making way more than you need, and then you can start using them every single time you train for more fragments and stuff and for more nodes, and then that'll help with nodes and funding your other characters, right? And you can start using them every single time you do bossing mules for more ring boxes, more pitched, all of that.
And that 30-minute time block, you can do that 5 times a day?
Yeah. Per character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I should definitely look into that then.
Yeah, I got like a very short guide for it that just like just gets straight to the point of the minimum stuff you have to do to get it built up. So you can check that, and if it's in any way unclear or you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, you don't have to do like the whole storyline and all of that. You can build it out further if you want to and unlock extra abilities and all that stuff. But just the base, just getting the bags and getting the oils for the wops and everything, that's all included in there.
Oh, that's nice with the quest line. I remember doing that for the cape.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't need to do it nearly that far. Yeah. Yeah, and it breaks every now and then the Tengu fight was broken for a while recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Tengu
for some
fight.
classes, they do want to do the cape though, because there's like a combination of friends that you can unlock, and then that gives the cape an extra stat. And one of the ones is it can give an extra 1 second cooldown. So then for some classes, that's actually ideal for their training setup, so they can have better training rotations. But you can imagine, if you're switching out the cape, that's a lot of damage lost, so you have to make sure you have a lot of juice coming from other sources. Otherwise, if it kills your kill potential, your kill speed, then it's actually not beneficial at all. So it's not for everyone.
Yep. I'm glad I don't play a cooldown class.
Well, you do have I think for Lumi you do want buff duration though, right?
Yep, I just rolled that the other day, preparing for the Sunny Sunday.
Right. Yeah. How are you approaching that? You're doing the circulator. Did you roll the unique line?
Yeah, I got the unique line, and
nice.
I got a 15% drop, and I'm hoping to roll the legendary line to get the +1 mobbing for just farming, I guess. I guess I should look for Meso too, but that's not too important.
Yeah, you have to look at how important like attack speed is for you and how important the other potential lines are. But you can have multiple inner abilities, so it'd be a good idea to have one that's purely dedicated to mobbing. And if the top line ends up being drop rate and that, you can use that same setup for opening the box, right? So change it in your preset to make sure that you always switch to that when you're opening the box in a boss fight. And then have the other one be exclusively for mobbing, essentially.
Yeah, that's what I have right now, and hopefully it rolls well.
Lumi wants cooldown hat for baptism and conduit. Ooh, okay.
No way. I don't know about that, actually.
I guess because you are pretty DPM heavy, right? Then
I mean, the cooldown goes down when you use Ender, so is that really necessary?
if you want, the details and all that, I would say check the class Discord. They probably have breakdowns on why you would want it and why you wouldn't want it. Oh, Richard says it makes it require 1 less Ender. So I guess it all just activates
1 less
faster,
Ender.
so you can baptism more.
I don't think that's worth it, in my opinion, because then you lose out on, you have to constantly be hitting for it to be worth it. So if you mess up even a little bit, you lose that value.
I think this is a great Lumi Discord question, is it worth to go for cooldown hat? If so, what is the trade-off? What are you possibly sacrificing, right?
Yeah.
1% FD over a 3-line hat for a 4-second hat. That seems
yeah,
like it's
I'm
a
not
very
doing
small
that.
Yeah.
Because then your burst is less too with the cooldown hat, but your DPM is better, I guess.
Yeah,
Not
exactly. That's always the question. It's never like a one thing like, oh, 1 second is always better because, you know, it's always like what is the possible trade-off, and is it you're really trying to min-max there, right? Yeah, like a fire poison, it's really brain dead easy. Like obviously it's always better because all of your damage is coming from your 5th job skills and you're using them every like 16 seconds instead of every 20 seconds. Like you get so many more uses out of them. That's so much more damage than 1 or 2 lines of stat. But for some other classes, it's way closer. So, or like you said, it can be like very specific in terms of the uses where technically it'd be a little bit better, but if you like lag a little bit and then you miss, then it's way worse. So these are kind of questions that are really good for a class Discord, just to see. There's probably some people who have done like the math breakdown, and then you can really see like, okay, is this worth the possible downside or not?
Yep.
Yeah, other than that, I don't think I saw anything weird in the Evan. Looks like you at least have a little bit of a idea what you're doing. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've geared up so many characters at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I think with
just,
the last changes for the last changes to terms and conditions when it comes to your bossing setup, I believe, I could be mistaken, but I believe that, and especially once you hit crit rate in your Legion artifact system, that a lot of people are going to be moving away from the middle stats, so like int and magic attack and possibly crit rate, and move more into buff duration, especially if you have a more DPM heavy character, just to make the terms and conditions last longer and the general bring up the general uptime.
Yeah, that Legion page is for my Evan. For my Lumi, it's full buff duration.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm gonna look into it more, but I think most classes will just want to go into buff duration more, just because of terms and conditions. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just switched my Legion artifact for that cooldown skip. For the terms and condition, that'd be great. Because Evan takes the 20% inner ability, so it's more rolls, I guess, to try to reset.
Oh, Evan rolls for that? Why?
Yeah, because
which skill is that for?
The fusion skills, like just any of them, it's like front loaded on the damage. So like if you use it and then it cooldown skips, you can just cancel and use it again because the damage is front loaded.
Gotcha. Oh, it's a little bit like the Lara explosions kind of thing. Like when you have the fire one, it like does a lot of damage up front. So you could like spam that
I'm
one.
not familiar with Lara.
Oh yeah, there's basically a bunch of veins and she explodes them, and one of them is a little bit more overtime, one is a little bit backloaded, and one is a little bit front loaded. So I guess if you have the front loaded one, you can just keep spamming it. That would increase your damage by quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think I think the +1 attack speed is more consistent, but I like the gambling.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? For certain situations, it could be like, oh, this one is more consistent and this one is a gamble. But what if the gamble is only like a possible like 0.5% FD loss, but if it hits, it's a +5%, right? And so consistent is sometimes way better. It's kind of like, but if you're a Shadower, for example, you just take 20% boss over chance to cooldown, which it basically only can happen like with 2 skills, but if they hit, they're huge, but they probably won't hit kind of thing. Yeah. Big risk, big reward, or small risk, small reward kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think with the Legion artifact, it makes that inner ability even better. Or like it closes the gap between the +1 attack speed and the 20 skip. Because 20 to 27 is a lot.
Yeah, I started seeing some cooldown skips, like on the DA, started seeing the shield skip a lot more, so that's nice. Matrix looking good. I imagine you have a decent amount of nodes and everything. Every matrix you can get access to is pretty built, right?
Yeah, because I made a beast tamer. Yeah, actually, I realized I said it wrong in the beginning. My Blaze Wizard was like 2 hyper burns ago. I mean, my most recent one was the beast tamer. So when they got converted, I had like so many nodes, and that's when I started working on so many different characters.
Yes. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Since I don't farm, I like nodes is always tough for me when it comes to making new boss meals. So having that is nice, and I always I always use the node shards to craft more node stones.
Yeah, pretty much all. That's
Just,
yeah.
just
If you're
for the
low,
gamble.
that's good. Well, it's good utility in general too, because then, you know, if a class has like one specific node that they need to max, like one specific skill node, that's not the best approach. But most classes, if you evenly divide it over the boost nodes and the skill nodes, that you get way more value from every node that way. So, if you're on
Yeah,
like
it's
kind of
more
a tight
value.
budget, that's definitely the way to go, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah, I did the same with the Lin because I always have a decent amount of nodes saved up, but that's because I'm just very sparing with them because I know how valuable they are. But I had like 5,000, I think, a little bit more, 5,500. And then when the Lin came out, we did the maths on like the transfer, and basically meant that if I would just use all the nodes on the Lin, the amount of shards you would get back, and then to craft into node stones, you could basically almost double your nodes.
Oh
So I
yeah,
ended up
that's crazy.
getting
I
up,
didn't even
yeah.
think about that.
I started with like 5,500 and ended up with like 10,400 or something. So now
Yeah, because they refund
I
a
got
lot
them.
for each node on the Beast Tamer.
Yeah, they basically
crazy.
gave you the shards that it would cost you to craft them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a boost node would give you 70 back, even though if you would extract them, you'd only get 10. So times 7, but then divide by turning in the back into node stones, divide by 2 again. So you know, depending on the type of node, but you would get like either times 1.5, times 2, or times 3.5 back the value. So it would just be worth to just open everything. So I spent like 3 hours just making a whole screen full of 25
before
boost
the
nodes.
changes.
Yeah, because you had to do them like one at a time. It wasn't like max level up, so it was a whole, and it was all opening, manual opening. Yeah, you couldn't just open all of them at once, so it was a whole lot of clicking.
Man.
But it was worth it. It basically got me like 5,000 nodes. So
Oh yeah, I wish I knew about that. Like it's actually like legally printing node
yeah,
stones.
because this time it was even a nerf compared to when they did it to chat. When they did to chat in the beginning, it was like even double that, I think, in the beginning. So people were just getting like 3 or 4, up to almost
didn't even know
5x their
that
nodes
shit.
back or something. Yeah, people who did it then could do it. Yeah, could do it, do it crazy way. Yeah. Okay. Anything? Yeah, with familiars, yeah, keep trying to open up rares, right? First to try to get the regular item drop rate, the 50%.
Oh yeah, my Evan's so unlucky with that. I
Mhm.
think it's only on my Blaze Wizard right now. I have the 50% line.
And then yeah, IEDs. But then going into epics and trying to get the large drop rate is, especially if you know that your character is going to be set up for the future and you're going to be playing it for a long time, it will just speed up your general progress so much. Like in the beginning, it's definitely like crit rate story, and then you start bossing, it becomes kind of like IED story. But as soon as that is kind of taken care of, the whole game is drop rate story. It just all comes down to how much drop rate you have. Because there's just so many attempts over such a long period of time. If you don't have drop rate, whatever takes a week will just take a year. And drop rate is just the thing that determines whether something is even possible or not on average. Whether it's even worth trying to go for, you know?
Yep.
Okay. Did you feel like you got to ask everything you wanted and we got through most of it? Or is there anything...
Yeah, this is good.
Okay.
I think this will definitely help me going forward.
Cool. Yeah, it's a bit different. I mean, we're not like diving into like specific equips and looking like what do you need to do, because you know you very clearly already have like a big legion, so you know kind of how characters work and how the game works. So we don't have to delve into that too much. So I appreciate that you have kind of like a different outlook in terms of the things that you're working on and what I can help you with. So hopefully that was to your satisfaction today. And okay, cool. Yeah, any last words or any shout out? Or I guess you wanted to do more stuff with your guild, right? Maybe certain boss parties you're looking for. You can always see if anyone is responding.
Yeah, I don't even think I joined the Discord that they have.
That might be a good start. Let's start there, and I gotta see where it goes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks so much for being here today, and I guess I'll see you around. If you have any remaining questions, hit me up on Discord or leave YouTube comments or all that stuff.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. Have a good evening, or a good morning, I guess, for you, right?
No, evening. It's
good
like
evening.
6 p.m. Yeah.
Oh, 6 p.m. Okay, yeah, your evening is starting. All right. Well, good luck, and yeah, I'll see you around.
All right. Yep. Thanks. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye. Okie dokie. Oh, Discord update. Beautiful. All right. So, yeah, if you are also a 9.4K Legion, multiple level 260, have never really gone into a late game player, you know, and you're exactly like in this situation. No. There's always going to be some stuff that you can use and a bunch of stuff that you can't use, but hopefully there were a few things during this session that you were able to pick out and use and apply to your personal situation. If you want more one-to-one specific advice, keep your eye out for that monthly post around the halfway mark of the month that I will post on YouTube, where you can leave your Discord name and I will draw 2 random winners. This was one of those winners from last month. If you don't want to wait, check the description of the video or check !coaching over at twitch.tv/Scardor, where you can basically buy a coaching session. You can choose a moment in time that works for you. We'll just talk one-on-one about what works, and depending on what kind of session, I also do it privately. If you don't want it upload it to YouTube, if you don't want it live on stream, that's also totally fine. But yeah, then I don't get that sweet AdSense money from YouTube, so then those are a little bit more pricey. But whatever fits for you. Also, if you are a viewer over at Twitch and you are a subscriber there, which is pretty cheap, and you watch the stream enough, you can also just request sessions through the store over there, through the Stream Elements store, which could be like a nice in-between budget option if you are, if that fits your preference more. If you have any questions or you want to look at any of the things here that we talked about, any of these commands, these are all available through my Twitch chat. You basically can use !commands or !info or whatever, and then they will all pop up. Or you just use an ! and then any topic you're looking for, and something will probably pop up. One of the bots will give you a bunch of information that you can use to start your journey on starting to figure out a topic. If you have any remaining question, find me live on Twitch, or find me through YouTube or Twitch or Discord or X or any other social media platform that you can possibly think of, and I'll probably get back to you. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one, or live over at Twitch. Bye. Bye-bye.